Way that you fill up that class with your favorite student is you got to show up where they hang out and do the Napoleon Dynamite dance. So welcome everybody to the Tao of Business. And it is really a tutorial on some of the aspects of running a Tai Chi business that I get asked a lot, and also the aspects that I see people either not take into consideration or not really know how to work with these particular aspects of it. And so tonight's content is really around 3 questions, 3 topics, 3 exercises, three sets of exercises that we're going to do about the business of being a Tai Chi teacher. And then I'm going to open it up to whatever else might be on your mind about how to succeed at business. So if I don't cover any of the aspects, it doesn't mean that I don't have lots of stuff to talk about it. I just focused on these 3 things. And so then we'll have time to talk about it at the end. Let me invite you all to take a minute while we're starting slowly to go grab a piece of paper or a pad or a pencil, something that you can write on, because we'll be doing some exercises, and then I'm going to be eliciting some responses and examples from your exercises. So if you don't already have writing materials down, you can go get them now. The first topic, who do you want to teach? Who do you want to teach? Now, sometimes if people have studied business or read business books or follow business gurus, there'll be a conversation about what is your target market. Have you guys heard that question, that phrase before? Here's the thing. I think that makes it a little bit impersonal. So the question really is a personal question. Who do you want to teach? And I'll give you an example. A lot of times people are really sort of, without thinking about it, taking the attitude like, well, everybody, come on in. There's a big room, big hug right here for everybody. That's not really true. It's not really, that you don't really want to teach everybody. And I'll give you an example from my own life. I love teaching, as Carol points out, and I am happy to teach anybody who wants to learn. But I'll tell you who I really, really like teaching is beginners. I love working with beginners, people who are just starting the journey, just like I know nothing. In fact, maybe I have a whole pocket full of misconceptions about Tai Chi. Like, I love working with those kind of people. This is my favorite group. We get digging in, we talk story, we explore, we have all kinds of fun with that. I also like the whole art of teaching itself. And so I like working with people who are going to become teachers. And so we put those together, and my favorite kind of people to work with are beginners who want to become teachers, who want to explore that side of Tai Chi, right? So it's not like I exclude anyone, it's that I definitely know who I want to teach. Does that make sense? So let's start with a simple exercise. And this is why you have the pencil and paper. Let's start by writing down who you like to teach. What group, what type of student do you like? So here's a follow-up to that question along the same lines, and maybe just stimulate you a little bit. Do you have a favorite student? And then one last part of this exercise. Who do you not want to show up in your class? Let's chat about it. Let's start with the first one. Who do you like teaching? Who wants to talk about that? Thanks, Kaz. Yeah.
For me, I love teaching the active older adults, but especially baby boomers and people who have never experienced Tai Chi before, or they've experienced Tai Chi before, but they've got frustrated with it, the fact that they could only remember 3 forms, and then they would lose interest in it. So that's who I like to teach.
Groovy. Thank you. Thanks for going first there as well. Who else? Who'd like to talk about that a little bit? Yeah, KK. Hold on.
Yeah. I have 2. one being cancer patients, and another that I've just run across that I'm doing some pre-work on, and that's Parkinson's patients. So older needs and vets came to me automatically. The cancer and Parkinson's have shown up. So
Got it. You know, maybe I'll take advantage of this, because I can feel how really like certain you are about this feeling. Like, fill in a little bit around the edges. Like, what is it that fulfills you about this group?
The cancer patient is self-healing, having encountered breast cancer as I met you and training in San Antonio. And I have used it through my entire surgery, radiation, etc. And all my doctors are on board. They all know that's what I've done. That has kept me very mobile. So that one was a given. Ran into a doctor here in town whose wife and I are really, really good friends. And I asked her if she thought that her husband would benefit from Parkinson's, his Parkinson's would benefit from Tai Chi, which she automatically said, well, of course it would. So I've been trying to do a little research in the background before I actually look at taking that on. I certainly understand the mobility and the stability balance that is needed, but I've been trying to verse myself better in it. So both of those are just really real to me due to experience.
So, thank you. I knew a little bit about that backstory, but I wanted to share it with everybody else so that you could maybe inspire some of the rest of you to think about, you know, how personal your selection of students can be. You know, like, it can be out of the need or desire or just resonance with people who are going through an experience that you're going through, or that get you, right? They get you and you get them. That can be something really powerful about choosing a student group. Great, thanks, KK. Who else? Who else would like to? Hey, Carol, yes.
No. Okay, you unmuted me, or do I unmute myself?
I got you this time.
Okay. I found when I first came back from China, I was teaching in Big Lake, Alaska, and my students were beginners, which I'm with you, I like to teach beginners. But I also had older ladies and a couple of older gentlemen. And to me, they were the best. I mean, they were the most enthusiastic about it. And I had a few younger students too, but mostly my people were my age or younger, just younger than I am. And the miracles that happened with that age group to me is just kept me going. I mean, just true miracles. About a guy who had knee replacement and one leg was shorter than the other, and he was following all the time. And after 2 months of Tai Chi, his doctor was amazed because his legs were the same length. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And I just think that the beginners, and I think sometimes the older people, of course, living in China, watching them teach younger people is kind of an education in itself. So, yeah, I think that miracles do happen, sir.
That's very cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool. Let's go to the next part of that question, which was an example of your favorite student. I'd love to hear some of who your favorite students have been. Yeah, Madame. Hold on. There you go.
I don't have a favorite student, but I have a favorite group.
Okay.
And it's a group of about 6 women that are 75 to 83. And they are noisy and they laugh and they chat. And so all I have to do, instead of saying it, I just start in. And then they quiet down and they follow. And a couple of weeks ago, first time I did the sway with them. I'd been doing the Tai Chi for Health diabetes and arthritis and osteoporosis and rehab with him for a couple of years. But so I started doing the sway, and it was Monday, and one of them said, I can't sway. This morning I couldn't even put my feet in my slippers to go get the paper off the porch. I can't do this. And we kept doing it, and tap in, and then a little farther out. By the end of the time, they're doing lunges, and they're just swaying, and they're going, look at me, look at me. They're my favorite group because they're so expressive about what they're doing.
That is so awesome. I can hear it. That's cool. What else? Other favorites? Yeah, Kristen.
I have one in every single class, but one in particular. If she misses more than 2 of my classes, she comes in and she's like this. And I said, what's the matter? She's like, your classes bring me joy. And then when I go around the room to new people, talking to the new students that come in, and everybody's telling them, oh, I don't have to take Advil anymore, and oh, I don't have to do this anymore. And Sandy, the same woman, always says, I can put my pants on without having to sit down. She said balance used to be a problem.
You get a student of a certain age and they no longer have any filters. They're like,
That's all my groups.
Yeah. That's very cool. Bob just posted in the chat there that he's had a student for 20 years and the last 15, it's been his assistant. So that's how favorite they are. They became like right-hand person for that.
Oh, yeah.
What else? Who else has got a fave that you want to share? Yeah, Elizabeth.
I like people who are willing to let go of their criticism. Some of them come in and they really are very critical, both of themselves and of things. And when they let it go, they all of a sudden start to get in the flow. And you don't know who they are, but usually, if they're critical for too long, they drop. You don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So on another night, not tonight, but on another night, I want to maybe talk about this topic. I'll try to make a note to myself, maybe in the December hangout, that self-criticism is a given in human beings, right? That it's my approach to life and the approach that we teach inside the Tai Chi Fit method, that's something that you should just expect everywhere you go all the time, 100% of the time. Now, people are equally beautiful and kind and generous and magical, but just because of the world that we live in, they're going to show up with this kind of self-consciousness and self-criticism and a little bit of downerism in their world. And what they're looking for in our classes is an escape from that, whether they know that or not. And the method is designed to be the escape door for that. That the flow state itself is that moment when all that stuff drops. You kind of think of that as a definition of what the flow state is that moment when self-consciousness has dissipated to the point where they're just fully in the moment and that negativity just doesn't exist. That lasts like 3 seconds and then it's back again. But then every time they come, it lasts longer and it's deeper and it's, more easily dropped into. And so our job is to expect them to come in with that certain kind of, self-consciousness and self-criticism, and through what we do in class, help them get out of it. And if we're really good, we keep tricking them into coming back until it's pretty much flipped, and now it's mostly gone all the time and only sometimes comes back. Right? So we'll talk more about that on another night, but cool. All right. Now, the third question, the one a little bit tougher for most people, and that is, who do you not want in your class? Who do you not want to show up? Kristen's like, I know exactly. Go ahead with your mic, man.
I have a bully.
Ooh.
And I have had to address it with the center's directors. I now have to go into every single class if I have somebody new, and I have to say that this is a safe zone and that there is no bullying. The problem is that she had bullied me a little bit, and I kind of managed that. And then I found out that she actually bullied a 97-year-old woman that, was a little bit uneasy and sat down during class. She went up to her after class and said, "If you can't handle the workout, don't come."
What did you say? Did you hit her?
If I had been there when she said it, I probably would have pushed her over.
Yeah.
Well, we had to kind of go through the whole thing about how everybody, is an individual, and we don't judge. We're not here for that. That's everybody is here for their own. And I had to address it. And as soon as I said the woman's name, they said, "She's pure evil." I said, "Yes, I know, but she's still in my class. I still have to be nice." But yeah, no, it was a serious problem, and I have to go into every single class, and I have to remind them that it is a safe zone and there is no bullying. And I'm thinking to myself, I teach senior citizens. They haven't learned this yet.
You asked a question, who do you not want to
Yes,
teach?
yes.
Not that I don't want to teach them, it's that it's really hard when people come in who have taken other types of Tai Chi and are not open to a new form, and then start criticizing that that's not the way you do it, that's not the way it should be, and you're not telling us how to be there, and all this kind of stuff, because it then ruins for newbies or people who really want to learn something new, because they aren't accepting the fact that this is different. And these people are different.
I agree entirely. That's probably my least favorite kind of student as well. Because of the massive amounts of people that I get to come in contact with, I get probably a higher volume of those kinds of people showing up in my class, right? And so, as I said before, everybody's welcome in my class. I don't exclude anybody. But it's like nothing bothers me, but I know they're not having a good time. So if you're not having a good time, and I'm not going to babysit you in my class. Those of you who've taken workshops from me, know that there's an abundance of love in our classes and our workshops, right? It's just the way classes turn out when I show up to teach, right? But I'm not going to baby you. I'm not going to babysit you. I'm not going to try to convince you of anything. I think that's really what I'm trying to say. I don't try to convince people that they should do this move or that style or whatever like that. So if you're not there having fun, then you should go somewhere else, right? That's kind of the way. And so that is also my least favorite kind of student. So Chris Hitchens was being very patient. Chris had an idea there.
Yeah, Judy took mine, so thanks, Judy. Yeah.
At any time.
But it's even more than they're critical. I think they're the least skilled. They're the ones, if I have someone new off the street who's never done anything, they pick it up quick. But previous people have taken Tai Chi these women have taken Tai Chi for years. They are by far out of rhythm of the whole concept.
Yeah.
For years. I mean, we've been together for 3 years, and it's just like nothing has changed in 3 years. Right. Just odd. That's all.
This is why I keep returning to this lovely Zen poem that I quote so often about the monkey looking for the moon in the water, You guys remember I've talked about this. So this is such an old poem, and it was a topic of Zen Buddhism because it's so well recognized, right? This is another thing that human beings do. We grab a hold of an idea and then are stuck with it. So you know how we talk about the monkey mind? This is a quite common. Well, monkey mind is often thought of as like, when you're easily distracted and you're like, monkey there, monkey, like my monkey's jumping all over the place. But it also means the other end of the extreme, where the monkey is holding on. The first line of the poem goes like this: the monkey is looking for the moon in the water. Until death, he will not let go of the branch. Right? This is the monkey mind also. So both of those conditions are something you should just expect to show up in your classes. And again, the Tai Chi Fit method is about trickery and manipulation, if you will. It's about not going directly and saying, now we're all going to let go of our monkey mind and just breathe. And like, that's never going to work. Instead, you have to distract them in a way that gives them another moon to look at, gives them a reason to let go of the branch. And in that moment, the monkey mind is stilled, right? Now, again, that doesn't mean you have to go and accept all those people into your class. If you know the people that you don't really want to teach, then don't go after them. Because I want to move on to the next exercise, just in the sake of time. One last bit of question, and you can write this down, and then we're just going to move on to the next exercise. How large groups, now that you've identified the kind of students you'd like to have in your class, how big a group do you of these people? Like, don't think about just a group generically. Think about your favorite student. And if you had a group of people just like that wonderful kick in the pants, how big a group would you want? A small group or a big group? And what does that mean? What is a small group? How many? 10? 5? 3? What is a big group? 50? So the next topic that I want to talk about is maybe the topic that in another way of expressing would be called marketing. This is a marketing topic. This is the topic that we've had lots of workshops on, but I keep thinking we're still not communicating it in the way that really is meaningful and personal, like real life stuff. So this exercise is really called capturing attention, because that's what marketing is. So you have a group of students, or you have an idea of the group of students that you'd like to have. Now, to get that group of students to show up in your classroom, you have to capture their attention. You have to, in other words, stand out. You have to stand out, and in particular, you have to stand out to that person that you want in your class. So if you can imagine that favorite student of yours, the challenge is, how do you get them to notice you in a crowd? So one of the first questions you might ask, and this is an exercise to write down, is where does your favorite student hang out? Or where does your ideal type of student that you want in your class, where do they hang out? For example, if your favorite type of student is a senior, like you love doing seniors, like where do seniors hang out? So write that down. Where do they hang out? Where do you know that they exist? And this is in two ways, right? So the one place, or one is local, is geographical, like in your neighborhood. Where are they hanging out? The other meaning, which is much more contemporary, is a relatively new phenomenon, is on social media, the social media platform. So where are they hanging out in social media?
Right now at the senior center.
At the senior center. Brilliant. Right? Like if you landed in an alien ship and you go, you must find seniors, where do I go? You'd go, well, they're all at the senior center. Yes.
Well, actually, it can come off of other classes also. I teach video, and so it gives me an opportunity to share. I go to yoga which gives me an opportunity to share. And yes, these are seniors in most of these classes, but it's just places that I'm interacting.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent. That's really brilliant. So where similar kinds of activities that you might be doing similar to yours, where they're already engaged like that. Cool. What else? Other kinds of places where they hang it. Yeah, Madone.
I've been doing symbiotic marketing for about 20 years now. And so I think of who are the trusted people or groups, organizations in these people's lives, and what do they have to benefit from having more of the people I want come in and look to them for extra services. So like BFW, AARP, the community bank. I went in there because I know that a lot of times community banks, credit unions, on their evaluations, the partners are evaluated, or senior officers evaluate on how they get the organization like the credit union or bank noticed in the community, get more people from the community come in to the bank. So if they sponsor a wellness thing, come in, we're going to let the veterans know about a new program, maybe help them with the enrollment, blah, 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 blah. Then it helps their personal evaluation so they get a raise.
Awesome. That's a new one for me. That's a great idea.
I was thinking about the small town that I come from, and much of the get-togethers, activities, whatever you want, revolve around church groups. And even though it isn't really involving the church, but that's where the quilters go to meet. That's where sometimes they have potlucks and bridge clubs, this kind of thing. And if you are going into a small town like that, that's where you might meet people, and I would introduce this as moving meditation, which would get their attention and in the mood for trying something new.
Great. I think the next time I do this workshop, I'm going to pause at this moment and show a short video of the dance scene from Napoleon Dynamite. If you have ever seen that movie, I want you to bring that image into your head right now, because otherwise I'm just going to have to post it like on the Facebook page. Because the question, Kristen, you've never seen Napoleon Dynamite? You are sadly uneducated, and now I will have to remedy that. Because the question is, okay, now you have a sense of where these, your favorite students, the students that you want in your class, are hanging out, and you go there, you go to the church, you go to the library, you go to the bank, the grocery store, you go to the YMCA, you go to the yoga class, and just afterwards. How do you stand out at that moment? AKA, what makes you so special at this moment? There's a 10 gajillion things competing for everybody's attention. Like, they just get out of the yoga class, immediately their thoughts are at somewhere else. They're like, I got to go to the bank, and I got to go to the grocery store, right? What is going to make you stand out in such a way that you capture them?
David Dorian, what made me stand out to you?
Well, no, actually, actually,
That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question, but to be honest with you, it's going to be probably a question, an answer that none of you will expect. So I had already, noticed Judy, but the thing that made her stand out was the first time that I met her in the flesh, in real life. She came right up to me and gave me the biggest hug, and it was like I'd known her forever. And for all of her sandpaper sides that you guys have all seen, she is the sweetest and most loving person you have ever met in your life.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No.
And that's
I
what,
wasn't expecting that,
yeah,
and that's...
I know, but that's the truth. That's what really made it stand out.
Hi, Judy, it's all true.
Yeah.
I was expecting you to say when I was one of the first people that dared to answer back with smart remarks to you.
You guys know that is not a surprise to me. I live with 3 redheaded women. My partner is a Scorpio. Like, that doesn't surprise me at all. Anyway, all right, so, but I want to stay on topic here. The question is, and I want you to write this down, I want you to really be non-humble at all. I want you to throw all humility away and answer this question: what makes you stand out? You really have to appreciate that each one of us individually and each one of us as a professional, as a provider of something worth paying for, must have what they call in the highfalutin marketing world a unique selling position, a USP, a unique selling position. And a unique selling position really means what makes you so special? How do you stand out? If you don't have a USP, if you don't have a way of standing out, then particularly in today's marketplace, you'll get drowned. You will get overlooked by all those people that you would love to have come into your class. Not because they don't value you or don't think you're wonderful, it's just that they don't know you. So you have to show up at these places where people are hanging out and show off what makes you so special. You have to be unabashed about your extroversion. Oh, yes, you see how that's tough? But that is what it means to be a professional. That is what it means to have a successful business. Right? This is the Tao of business. And what is the Tao? Let me just jump really quickly to the reason why I chose that title. So the Tao is often translated as the way, but a better meaning of this, it's the way it is. It is the description of the organic nature of the system of the universe. Right? And so it's just the way it works. The way that business works is that you have to get noticed by the people that you want to work with. If you don't get noticed by the people that you want to work with, they just don't know how wonderful you are and how great it would be to hang out with you. That's just the way it works. And so the Tao of this question is you have to be unabashed, you have to be extroverted in showing off what makes you so special in the places where your target, where your hoped for students are hanging out. So it doesn't do any good to go where they're hanging out and then be quiet. It doesn't do any good to be loud and extroverted in places where they're not hanging out. You have to put those two things together. Does that make sense? Now, also, let me just touch on one more thing about marketing. Marketing is not selling anybody anything. So one of the things that makes people sort of shy about being extroverted or, being loud about what they're doing is that they feel like they don't want to sell anybody anything. Well, good news, you don't. In fact, the way that we operate in our business, for example, is on the philosophy that there's a difference between selling and a sale happening, right? Of course, sales happen in our business. That's how we stay in business. But we don't do any selling whatsoever. Like, I just show up in the places where the people that I want to do business with are hanging out, and I show them how wonderful I am. I tell jokes. I lead flows. I wear funny hats from time to time. Whatever it takes to catch people's attention. And then they decide whether they want to make a sale or not. That's how it works. So for example, on social media, let me just touch on this for a moment. People are still to this day unsure of how to use social media in business and in marketing. Social media is not a place where you try to make sales happen. Social media does not serve the function of selling stuff. Okay? Social media, and much like the real world, much like the analog world, social media has the function of a place to start a conversation. That's it. That's all it is. Everything that you do on social media is only for the purpose of having a conversation with somebody. Conversations is how relationships start. And I don't want to have any transactions. Personally, like this is serious. And I'm giving you this as an example that you can chew on to see if maybe you want to join me in this philosophy. I don't want to have any transactions that are devoid of a relationship. I don't want to take money from strangers. Right? What's the point? Because in the long run, it's not about, oh, I got some dollars from you. In the long run, it's about, what's the whole purpose behind me teaching Tai Chi in the first place? I teach Tai Chi because I want to change the world. I can't change the world, if I don't have a big family of people doing it with me. That's why I teach Tai Chi. That's why we have, this company. So to take money from strangers and not have a relationship, we'll never achieve that goal. Right? You want to heal someone? You want to share the healing quality of Tai Chi? Right? I'll tell you the number one most powerful healing aspect of Tai Chi is the social interaction between students and between student and teacher. It's the relationships. That is so powerful, much more powerful than the movements or the breathing or the thought form. It's the people involved. And so if you have no relationships, you won't share the healing. Does that make sense? So in both worlds, the analog world and the social media world, marketing, doing the Napoleon Dynamite dance has one purpose: to get people to have a conversation with you. Anywhere from where did you learn those moves to, dude, are you okay? Anywhere in between. Let's move on. Last exercise. The last exercise is called, how much are you worth? So to start this out, I'd like you to make a list, a short list, of the people that you pay money to. Who do you pay in your life right now? For example, doctors, lawyers, mechanics, right? Who do you pay? Massage therapists, psychotherapists, physical therapists, whatever. Make a little list there. So while we're doing that, I'm going to jump back to something Madan wrote here. So I'm going to pick on her for a little bit because it's really good for everybody. She says, I have trouble marketing myself, but if I'm marketing something that helps others, then it's not me, it's the benefits. Here's the thing, and it's a tough one to swallow. It's a tough one to swallow, particularly if you're shy, if you're introverted or whatever. So the benefits are not unique. The benefits are not, they're a commodity. Like there's now thousands of people who are in some way also trying to share benefits and know those same benefits. Unless you know some benefits that nobody else knows, or you have a particular perspective on them that is so unusual. Otherwise, that doesn't capture people's attention because there's just so much of it out there. What captures people's attention are things that are just unlike anything else, like unique. And the most unique thing that you have in your life, Madan, is you. There's just nobody else who's you. And so when you show up, that's what you've got to like put out there. And I challenge you guys to think about, what is it about me that captures people's attention? Like you walk down the street and like 100 people go by and they're just bodies walking by and they're walking, and then all of a sudden one will like pop in your field of vision. Was it the red jacket? Was it the wild hair? Was it the smile on their face? Was it just like some vibrational energy that just wowed you as they walk? Right? Whatever that is, right? That's what you got to show up as. All right, let's go back to the exercise about the people that you pay. Now, next to those people that you pay, write down, to the best of your ability, what you pay them an hour. This is really important. This is maybe one of the most important parts of tonight's exercises, is this thing right here. So I really want you to write numbers down that you'll be able to look down at your page and look at them. And then I'm going to ask for some feedback here in a minute.
Oh, how is expensive? It's like $150 an hour for labor. Yeah.
There we go. Let's mechanic. We'll stick with that one because that's a good example. $150 an hour. Excellent. Kristen.
We just had all that carpentry work in my house. So we just paid a lot of money for a lot of carpenters.
So how much an hour do you pay your carpenters?
For the team that came in, it was $400 an hour.
$400 an hour for the team. How many were on the team?
5.
5. So $75 an hour per person, just averaging. Super. Who else has got somebody that they paid? Yeah, KK.
Acupuncturist is $85 an hour.
$85 an hour. Got it. Madonna says $60 an hour for a carpet, $100 an hour for a plumber. Yep. So we get the idea. Professionals can charge a lot of money. $100 an hour for a plumber, right? $150 an hour for a car mechanic. Right? So here's the question. Are you worth A, more than them, B, less than them, or C, the same as them? Please make note. Or it would be basically, are you worth more than a mechanic? Brett, this is exactly what I don't want you to think about. Right? So Brett brought up the point. This is perfect. And I'm glad that you said that, but I'm going to use it as the counterpoint. So Brett said, I don't know. It's hard to decide. What will the market bear? I don't give a shit what the market will bear. I want to know how much you think you're worth. Are you worth A, more than a mechanic, B, less than a mechanic, or C, the same as a mechanic?
Okay. More. But when you have people teaching Tai Chi out there doing it for $5 a throw,
who cares? Who cares? That is not your concern. That is not your concern. Because they don't do the Napoleon Dynamite dance. Right? Like, do you think I care about teachers who are teaching for $5 an hour?
No.
No, I don't. I don't give it a second thought.
You're in a different scale, though. I mean, you're national, and in a local environment where people minimize the value of the commodity, even though it's not a commodity. It's not.
Well, sure it is.
Commodity.
No, I think you're right. You go with your first instinct. Of course, Tai Chi is a commodity.
But
yoga is a commodity. All these health benefiting kind of activities are commodity. So inherently, the activity itself is no longer the attraction, no longer what you're selling. There was a time when that was so, rare that was itself something that was highly valuable. That's just not the way of the current state of the market is anymore. So this is why I love the fact that you brought this up, because it does provide the counterpoint. You are not selling Tai Chi. And those of you who are thinking that you're going to build a business on the basis of selling Tai Chi, you're already doomed to failure.
So you're selling experience and benefit rather than the actual Tai Chi as a product?
I don't even know that I'm selling experience and benefit. What I'm saying tonight, for the purpose of tonight's exercise, is what, and you're not even selling anything.
Right, not selling. Bad word, sorry.
You are, but I get what you're saying. You are attracting attention. Like no sale is going to happen if you can't get somebody's attention about it. Right? No sale is going to happen unless you have caught somebody's attention. No, I think we're a fairly mature group here, only maybe one or two singles. But think about, how you attracted your partner or how they attracted you or whatever. Like they didn't come up and tell you their benefits. Like, I'm a really hard worker. I do well around the house. I don't snore at night. Like, no, you stood out. It's like, oh, it was his smile. Like whatever. Something made you stand out. How did he know I love Napoleon Dynamite? I just don't know. Like, how did he know? Right? So that's what is the key to success in business, in the Tao of Business and Tai Chi, is attracting attention. So you say, what makes you stand out? Now, inherently, you go back to yourself and say, so I stand out because I am worth so much. Like what I have to share, who I am is so valuable. So I go back to the question. Has nothing to do with what the market will bear, has nothing to do with what everybody else is charging. It only has, do you think you are A, worth more than a mechanic, B, worth less than a mechanic, or C, worth the same as a mechanic?
I'd say worth more.
Okay, stop right there.
Long-term lifetime.
Stop right there. Yes, exactly. Right? Because it doesn't need any defense or explanation. That is the essential question you have to ask. If you prevaricate about what your worth is, you will waste so much time, and that will kill your business.
Gotcha. One other question though.
Yeah.
How many people are happy about what they pay for a mechanic or a dentist or a doctor?
Well, it depends on who their mechanic or dentist or doctor is.
True.
Right?
True.
I've had mechanics and I'm like, fuck, oh God. And then I've had other mechanics is like, man, can I give you more? Like, was that enough? I thought this car was dead and you fixed it. And so who's responsible for that? When you deliver on your promise of delivering something valuable in class, that's when people will decide whether or not when they decide whether it's true, you're worth more or the same or less. So that becomes your responsibility. But before you have the chance to do that, you've got to be honest with yourself. I mean, this is the thing too. There's got to be some self-awareness. How much do I think I'm worth? I think I'm worth $400 an hour. Right? That's how much I think I'm worth. So I charged, Sarah, I charged her $50 to become this class, but there are 40 people in this class, right? So that's how I know that I'm getting what I'm worth, right? If I do a class for $50, it's not because I think that's what I'm worth, it's because I think that's what you're worth. That one-on-one time, that you're worth $400 an hour. And so I'm giving you that time because you're valuable to me, right? So you have to decide. All right, so now, based on what you think you're worth, more, the same, or less. Now let's go back to the first exercise when I said, what is the beautiful size group that you would like to be with? You've identified the favorite kind of student that you want, and you can imagine a class full of people just like that. What's the size of that class? So Connie, how big a class did you say that you like? Okay, and I'll take that, not because I believe it, but because that makes the math easier for me. All right, so you say, I'm worth the same as a mechanic. So that means that she's worth $150 an hour, right? Now she has 15 people in her class. All right, so what does she need to charge per person in that class?
I hate math.
10.
$10. Because the thing that surprises me a lot is how many people email me, ask me in workshops and whatever, I don't know what to charge. I don't know what to charge for my class. How much should I charge? Like what's the going rate, whatever. How should I charge? $100? Like, what should I charge? See, how do you know what to charge people until you have figured out what you're worth? What do you need to make in an hour? So if she's got 15 people in her class, or if she can predict that she will have an average of 15 people in her class, then you charge them $10 a class and you make your $150 an hour. That's just the simplest way of doing it. And focus on filling that class full of your favorite student. And the way that you fill up that class with your favorite student is you got to show up where they hang out and do the Napoleon Dynamite dance. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. So this is your homework. This is your takeaway. For those of you who are thinking of this as a business, there is a difference. There is a distinction between being a Tai Chi master and a Tai Chi teacher. Like between the art of Tai Chi and the art of teaching. There's a whole different set of skills. There's a whole different set of expectations. There's a whole different set of definitions and descriptions that make you a teacher. Then between being a teacher and being a professional teacher, there's a big distinction. There is a whole different set of skills. There's a whole different, or there are additional skills, perhaps you might want to say. There are different distinctions between being a teacher and being a professional teacher. And then we might even say being a part-time or a full-time professional teacher, right? So if you are desirous, serious about making this a profession, about sharing this, and for me, what professional means is that is a never-ending pursuit of excellence. Right? That's a professional. The professional has a never-ending pursuit of excellence and then sharing that excellence in the work that they do. So if you are a professional teacher, you have a never-ending pursuit of excellence in teaching and sharing what it is that you have, that you know about, with other people. Right? Now, in today's world, and so we might think of teaching and sharing with others as taking place in what's known as the marketplace of ideas. Have you guys heard that term before? Right? It's something we call the marketplace of ideas. I mean, there's stuff competing for people's headspace, things to think about, things to focus on, things to spend time with, right? Things to fill up their mind and learn and remember, right? That's a marketplace of ideas. And in today's world, if you can't compete in the marketplace of things that you buy, things that you sell, then you won't succeed in competing in the marketplace of ideas. It's just the Tao of the world that we live in today. So if you intend to be a professional teacher, to compete with people's headspace, the marketplace of ideas, you have to learn how to compete in the marketplace of things. You have to learn how to find the people that you really want to deal with. You have to know where they hang out. You have to show up there and show them how unique and special, what makes you so special. And then ask them for what you think you're worth. So I challenge you to take a look at those and figure out where you could do better. And I think that you'll find that you're happier as a teacher after that. Anyway, those are my thoughts for the evening. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate your time. And I will have this recording available as soon as possible, do some light editing, cut out all those awkward silent moments, and then we'll send you the link to the recording. All right.